Welcome to Off Track, the motorcycle racing podcast, brought to you in proud partnership with J&S Accessories and B-Moto Motorcycle Insurance.
Hello and welcome to Off Track, the motorcycle racing podcast. I'm your host, Dave Neal. Welcome to Alton Park. This week, SYPC Athlete Academy man Sam Yassin brings a host of his riders. Malenko by Paget's racing pair Davey Todd and David Allingham join us, along with Completely Motorbike's Canadian import Jack Roach. We also get Ben Curry back on the show as well, in between his chances with the Oxford Products Ducati racing team. Let's see how they got on just before the F900s disappear into the distance and really spoil the audio for you. Enjoy. Same place at the same time?
No, not at all. But we're still like raising Cam and Roachy. That's pretty much the theme still.
Hey, it's working. It's working. Cam and Jack are our two kids. So.
Literally. Practice.
It is practice for the future, that's what it is. We know what, rolling into a podcast like this, we've not even done the introductions. This is just the beauty of how we do it. It's great to see you boys again. D-Bomb, it's always great to see you. Roachy and you as well. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Off Track, the motorcycle racing podcast. As always, I'm your host, Dave Neal. Delighted to say the good Lord, Sam Yassin, Davey Todd, David Allingham, Jack Roach. Boys, welcome to Off Track and welcome back, because you've all been on before. What, yeah, this is mad. You were on a bike show.
I haven't been on.
You have.
Have I?
Yes.
I have. Sorry, you're late.
You need to
lost his V's without realising.
Sorry, I'm
so
lying.
Cut you off at the NEC straight away.
The NEC. That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Apologies.
I had like 15 minutes of fame. That's about it.
You had a cameo at Snetterton.
Yep.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, in the truck at Snetterton. Yeah, that was it.
That was
but we stood face to face at the NEC and had a chat.
But we just at the time.
You had a mic though.
At the time, we said we were going to do it with Ed Senior. Do you remember?
Yeah, but no, that was
quite,
before that.
That's still quite funny. I think we should.
No, we'd still do that.
That would be good.
We'll still bring the gaffer on as well, because that's where the hire car stories and things go in. That's where we start getting on
more
with that.
stories
That. Sam, tell us about the off season so far and the transition from 2022 to 2023 with these boys and how SYPC's moving on.
It's a bit of a funny one, to be honest. It doesn't really feel like we didn't really feel like we had an off, to be honest. It kind of felt like it just rolled in, and then just with it's a bit of a strange one for me, because it was like Cam and Roachy were in and out last year, and Roachy was sort of come on halfway through the season, something like that, and obviously then they were in different classes. Cam was just with us all the time, and I felt like I was looking after Cam anyway, just without him actually fully coming on board. So it's been nice. I think it's felt different in terms of Cam and D-Bomb have come on board. We've had a good winter.
Had a good wonder.
It's been interesting, really, because it's just a bit of a different year in terms of Davey's now gone to Superbike. Obviously, Ryan's moved to IMG. Storm's in the same place. It's nice. It feels like Paget's is still home for us, really, and it's been mint that D's now in that same garage as well, and we've got an even better vibe in there now as well. And then Roachy's obviously moved to Stock 6. You had an interesting first round, didn't you, mate?
Not interesting at all. It's a bit boring, to be honest.
Why?
Well, not boring, but I guess I think I was 8th. So I started 16th, got up to 8th. I actually kind of surprised myself, because
first round on the Stock 6.
I mean,
well, I'll come to that. Yeah,
like watching all the races last year, and then battling with those guys straight away off the bat. It was I don't know, sometimes you guys probably feel like when you move up a class and then you're battling with some guys that you've been watching on TV, it's kind of I don't know, you kind of have to pinch yourself. But I definitely pinched myself. I had to jump off the bike at 140 going into turn 1. Just clipped the back marker. I clipped him, and then I was literally aiming at the wall at 140, I think it was like that. And then it was just literally a split decision. Just had to jump off the bike, and I always thought I don't think I have enough balls to jump off the bike, but as soon as you're in that position,
when you have to,
yeah, exactly.
When you have to.
I know all those.
I think at some point you've all had to bail at something. Look at it, here's Al bringing in the coffee. Look at that, look.
No way.
What a setup, by the way.
This is service for the rock.
What a setup.
How cool is this?
Unreal. Absolutely.
How cool is this? The boys at Ugly and Cal
T-Boy as well.
They've done us proud with this.
And
Al bringing in.
Stay in the sofa or what?
Does only the superstar get one, or do we still get a T?
He's there.
I take it back. I take it back.
How cool
What a
is
mug
that?
as well. And the cup's all right.
I'll take a tea, please. Yes, please.
I'll tell you what, I can see OMG Racing in the house as well. I can see John Boy lurking at the back there and Dale at the front here. Look at this. We've got a little audience as well. Can't tell how far away John Boy is though. Oh no, he's there. That's all right.
Well, that's a good brew.
Roachy, we'll come on to you boys in a second. It's always going to be the way with having three guys on and Sam as well. We've both got microphones, so you've got to pass it between. Roachy, that step from junior supersport to stock 6,
Yeah.
that's been quite a decent jump. If you're running top 10
Yeah.
in junior superstock in your first season, normally it takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Especially those that are moving up from Moto 3 to the 600. But I guess maybe it's not quite the jump from the 400 to the 6.
I mean, obviously, like, it's 50 brake horsepower on the 400, and then you're going to 140, I think, 135.
So it is a similar move up in power.
Yeah, so it's pretty like a big jump. I mean, obviously from a Moto 3, it's like an actual like race bike. Obviously the 400 is more like a road bike, so it's kind of similar, but not really. Yeah, I mean, like around here, it's just absolutely insane. No, to be honest, like, thank you. I've been in the 400s for like, I mean, obviously I did last year, the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before, so like 4 years. And now I'm 19, so I feel like my dad's quite smart, and I feel like we've been waiting for the right time.
It's almost like it's coincided with your growth spurt as well.
Yeah.
Came back 5'4", didn't he? All 5'4" now.
In his mum's
I couldn't
heels.
believe it. He literally shot up over winter.
Yeah, so I mean, I think, to be honest, like, obviously there's goals that you want, but I mean, like, everybody, like, there's a lot of people saying, like, oh, I reckon you could get a podium by the end of the year, and man, like, that for me, I feel like if people are saying that, then that means like I can actually do that, because people are watching, you know what I mean? So no, I'm really excited. Obviously Alton's a bit of a gnarly track. It's literally, I went out at the test and I was like, oh my god, I gotta learn this track again. Literally things wheeling before going into turns.
It's a whole different ball game now,
Out of
isn't it, on the
turns.
600?
Yeah,
and then you move up to what these boys are on, and it's just like, yeah, no.
Yeah,
It's funny, innit? Yesterday we were watching at Lodge. Like, I love to watch at Lodge. It's probably my favourite corner in the country to watch at. Yeah, I absolutely love it. I don't know why. It's just such a roller coaster, innit? We were stood there yesterday watching that, and we were trying to listen for like gearing and stuff like that for watching Superbike, weren't we? And even he was going, oh my, it's just a different ball game on a Superbike through there, innit?
Yeah. Them guys come through there in a Superbike. They come through there in a Superbike. Like you imagine how you ride it on a 600 and you think the thing's wheeling. Yeah. You put so much more horsepower onto that. Jump onto the thing Davey's riding. It's an animal. He's coming up over the top of the hull. It's like this.
We were watching you literally like crossed up.
Is it from Lodge or Druids?
From Lodge. Yeah, come out of the last corner and then come up through onto the start and finish. You know, but he's like, Davey's just getting all shapes. Me and Sam's looking at each other like, oh, I don't know if I like that.
So we'll do that as a thing. We'll bring everybody in. Davey looks like he's going to nod off shortly.
I got my
You
coffee.
got your rocket fuel now. You got your Ugly & Co rocket fuel there. We'll go along the settee actually, because it's interesting for what Roachy says. But one of my favourite places to watch from here is Druids.
Yeah.
Because you're coming in, you come through Tower. We're watching there yesterday, and you can see who are the quicker ones. Because as you get to that left before you go to Druids, there are people rolling off before that, and the likes of Andy Irwin and the guys who are fully committed to that are rolling off just after it before they change direction. But then you go through the double right-hander and you're over those rollers. I'll go along, mate. What's that like on the Superbike this year?
Mate, honestly, it is insane through
Welcome
there.
back.
Cheers. It's insane through there. Like, there's no comparing it. Even like stood by the side, and like you say, it's an awesome place to watch, and it gives you a real sense of speed. That coming up there over the crest of Clay Hill, you just feel genuinely, you feel like you're doing 300 mile an hour. Like, it feels like warp speed. It's like a tunnel with the trees over it as well.
That's from a TT rider.
And it's
imagine for a non-road rider.
It's so narrow and everything. And like you say, getting back to that curb on the left is difficult. You're in fifth gear on a Superbike over the top of there, coming back to that curb. So what, 160, 170 plus mile an hour.
It's almost 140 tipping in it. I think when you go back to last year with Jason and Hickey and the issues we had last year, and it's a fast
that's
tipping.
That's
into Druids.
Yeah. So
and it's bumpy now going into that left. I don't know why it's got really bumpy this year.
Yeah, it's definitely some bumps there as well. It's it's a savage place. Definitely, you have to make sure you do things right, because you do sort of make yourself aware that, right, if I go down here, if I lost the front on the brakes on the left, this is going to be huge. Like, it's not going to be good.
Who did that years ago? And he ended up they had to move the TV gantry.
Oh, because it ended up going
on the HM plant Honda. Not Howie Mainwaring. John Kirkham. John Kirkham went in there, and they've tried to move things back, and they've moved the TV tower because he nearly took out a cameraman.
Marshall Nill, too, a good friend of mine, Marshall Nill, went on there as well.
Did he?
The front, bike ended up on the other side. Shout out to Marshall if he's listening.
He's exactly right. So what's it like for you going in there now?
Yes, well, you're on a stock 1000, so you're not far away from what Davey's saying, but yeah, it's bumpy now, and it's one of my favourite parts of the track. But as Davey said, you kind of come through there, and when you walk the track, you don't realise how close the barriers and stuff are. And I've got a few beats going here now.
You've got some beats in the background, who's it?
Barriers.
It's Allingham with the banging tunes. Providing the soundtrack to the podcast. Cheers, boys.
Kind of kicked up. When I started speaking, it kicked off. Getting under
dropping me in.
It's like waiting for the drop, and that's it. And it comes straight in.
No, I like that part of the track. I just love this track in general. You come from Silverstone, and it's just kind of it's not. I don't feel like it's as technical as this track. You just have to get out of the corners good and get the thing stood up. Oh, I don't really know, because I'm not very good at Silverstone. But you come to Oulton and it's very technical. You use the rear brake. You have to be in the right part of the track at the right time. Short shift and all that. And I just love this place. I love it. Can't wait.
Showed yesterday.
It's good. It's nice to see him back in there, especially after last year with the injury, D-Bomb. It's nice to see you back on the bike and back out on circuit.
Yeah. No, I didn't think I was actually, I thought it probably would have ended me, to be honest. When I was sitting in the hospital, I was kind of thinking, I don't know if I want to go back to this, Then you start getting a little bit better, don't you? And you think, I'm starting to get the itch now to come back and start riding my motorcycle. And I genuinely do, I wouldn't come back if I didn't think that I could be on the podium or challenging for race ones. And I still believe that, so that was what was driving me to come back. But yeah, dude, I didn't think, from lying on the track at Thruxton, I don't even think I'd make round one. So we're here, and legs good and ready to rock.
The one thing I love, and it works with all three of you and Sam as well, is the overriding positivity. I mean, it's difficult to knock you down. It's difficult to knock you. Everything's positive. Like, well, then you're making the best out of any bad situation, and you're coming into that as well, Roachy. And a lot of that is down to you and mindset and everything else.
We were even drinking positive drinks last night, weren't we, boys?
Yeah. Are you drinking that stuff in the tins again? Your little gin and tonics?
No. Wagamam was last time. We ordered a little positive panchy, was it? Positive panchy. Shout out, Waggers. We eat there that much. If you fancy sponsor, we really do with that, to be honest. Same with
Wagamam is twice around now too.
I didn't turn up. The guys were about annoyed.
We're kind of playing the
school out on the positive panchy.
It's a school outing. How can you not?
Kind of sick of the Wagamam.
He was nearly out the team. If we let him know this morning, if it happens again, he's out.
Oh, this is one. It's like
one strike only.
Well, I get that. We have a similar thing on the podcast. If your phone goes off again, Roachy, you're doing a naked run around the circuit. That's the forfeit. It pinged earlier.
Oh, he doesn't even.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I've already done a forfeit. Look at that.
There we go.
Look into that camera and show that again.
Speaking of changes, transitions all over the show.
Grab that microphone and tell us all about it. What's that about?
Looks like a microphone.
The real Slim Shady. Please step forward.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I was going to take the mickey and say the Australian Slim Shady.
So I was at Leon's, and then his daughter came up and she's like, I'm going to shave your head. So I was like, okay, sounds good. And then shaved my head, and then it kind of grew back black. And I'm like, I look like an old man now. So I was like, you know what? Let
Babyface assassin. Like an old man. But we're all relics then. Done in the ground.
How do you think I feel?
So I was like, you know what? Let's go slim. So it's Slim Shady Oulton.
It's exactly what he's done. How do you think I feel? My daughter's older than him.
Don't tell him that.
Sam, tell me about the approach to this season with the boys and how they've developed and what the continuation is. Obviously, you worked with Davey last year. We had you on the pod. Kind of just prior this time last year.
You know, we're always unorthodox for Davey. He's here, there, and everywhere.
I have never seen anybody, like following his. For those guys that are watching and listening, if you don't follow Davey on Instagram, please do, because you just. He's like basking in reflected glory. It's like, God, he's off again on an airplane. He's going somewhere else.
It seems glamorous. But it's
a headache.
Honestly, I love it. I love racing bikes, anything to do with that, and I genuinely feel like I'm living the dream every day. But it's the traveling is not the best part of it. Definitely,
you spent a lot of time on a tin tube already this year.
A lot.
It's impossible to program him. It's impossible. It's like, are you at home? Are you in a hotel room? Have you got access to a gym? Sometimes you have hotel gyms.
Yeah.
Like sometimes he has a bicycle.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always different with him. But he's looking leaner than he did all through last year, to be honest.
Feel fair, stronger, everything. We worked hard on it over winter. I had some time out in America with my mate Brad, and we tried to ride bikes as much as possible. Rode like a lot of enduro, motocross, and just enjoyed my time out there. But then came back and got straight down to business with Sam, and like got into it with the training, and genuinely feel really good. Stepping up to the Superbike, I knew it was going to be a different thing. I'm not going to say it wasn't hard Superstock last year, because it was a battle, but I felt always relaxed, really relaxed on the bike. I never really felt like I had to push over my limit. Whereas this year, I've got to step up the game. It's there is no slow guy in that Superbike class. Everybody is so fast. And you genuinely get your head down, do a lap, and you think, right, that's going to be good. The bike's is somewhere near. Like, it's definitely not bad. Like, I felt like I did a really good lap. You come in, you're like 20th, but you're only half a second off pole. You're like, don't know. Where do I find the rest of that? So then it's fine-tuning the bike, which we were so lucky and so drilled in with the stuff last year with the stocker that it almost worked quite easily. The guys are more experienced with the HRC kit stuff, so moving over to the Motec stuff that you have to use in Superbike is a big challenge for the team and for myself as well. So trying to learn that and get a good setting for that is probably the biggest part of it that's difficult. Clive and the boys now to set up the suspension and do the bits, but it's also like we were not far away. Like stocker times last year were a lot of the time we were 1 second-ish a lap off Superbike time. So we're like,
with slick in it should be fine.
Stick slick tires in it and we'll be somewhere near. But like, yeah, that maybe give us another four or 5 tenths.
Yeah.
And then you're like, right, where do you find the other 6 tenths? And it's like, spend 10 grand on a swing arm, that might give you a tenth or two. Spend like a load of money on brakes, that might give you a tenth. Like, it doesn't give you a lot. It's not like you put these parts in that cost a fortune and they give you a lot. They just give you like these fractions, and that's what makes up sort of the rest of it.
That's been the difficulty with motorcycle racing. To get to within 95% of a lap time is fairly easy in general terms. That last 5%, that's big dollar, because that's the difference between how the haves and that haven't got yet.
Yeah,
and that's what people don't. Sometimes the watching public don't understand that you can get so far on kit stuff, but when you've got to make that extra step, that last 5% is the most difficult and the most expensive.
Yeah, massively. It's crazy.
But then also in that last 5% or last 1% or whatever you want to call it is your training and your fitness, how you feel mentally, everything. So it's trying to be fully prepared in all that sense. And it was the positives that I took from Silverstone, genuinely, that I said I feel really fit. I felt the best I've ever felt on a bike as such. I really worked on my style over winter, tried to study like different people's riding styles and the way I can make a bike turn better and work better. And I felt like a different rider at Silverstone. I felt much better, which was definitely a big positive. Felt fit, and we just need to find some little things. Learn for us the bike and the electronics. I think is the biggest part.
What's changed in you in your riding style? What have you changed most from the stocker to the Superbike?
So it's not something that you would necessarily change between the stocker and the Superbike. It's just something that I always try and develop and like be a better rider if I can. And I always sort of look at some photos and videos and think, oh, my style doesn't look very good. So I try and adjust my body position to make some changes. And
That's what we're talking
genuinely, I started to change my body position and see how the bike reacts differently. And when I changed certain things, it made the bike maybe turn better or something mid-corner, or go into the turn better, and I can go in later on the brakes and realize the advantages from doing different things. So then tried to take on those things, which for a while you have to think about, and then until they become a natural thing, then it all like fits in and it's good. But I felt like at that stage, through testing and everything, I worked on that stuff, not really pushing for a lap time and what have you. And then obviously turned up at round one, and we were 0.6 off pole in qualifying in 19th. So we just we're not far away.
Welcome to SB.
It's exactly that, isn't it?
Same yesterday. Like a much longer track. It's a pretty long track at Alton, and in free practice we were about a second off, just over a second off pole in 16th. So it's there's definitely a lot of places we can find time anywhere. We've got some upgrades to the bike. We sort of gone our own direction with creating some new maps for the Motec, and we got a new swing arm, which is real nice. But then with the swing arm changes other things, so then it's maybe give me more grip on the rear and took away feeling on the front. So then it's all a balance. You all have to make it all balance out and work. So I'm trying to find that balance at the moment, and the weather's not really helping.
It's
with
not
that.
going to help today. It's absolutely not going to help today. Don't want to wait. Just grab that microphone. Thanks, David. Grab that microphone, D-Bomb.
Don't be saying that.
You can.
like the going back to like obviously we sort of go through everyone's sort of transition through off season and everything. It's like I think Dee's story is a really, really interesting one with me, because we can't remember when it was, can we? But years ago now, years and years ago, like in the teens, late teens,
2016, 2017, something like that.
We actually started conversing about working together then, and you wanted to move, didn't you? You were going to come over to England. We were going to go full program. You wanted to be with me 5 days a week.
We were going to throw everything at it, you know?
And the kitchen sink.
Yeah, everything.
And for one reason or another, we didn't do it.
Yeah.
I
think I was working back home at the time.
Yeah.
It was going to be difficult to get back and forward, and I didn't know where I was going to live and stuff. Because Sam's kid, you're down you're what, Midlands, aren't you?
Midlands, yeah.
So like my dad lives up in Cambridge, so he's near London kind of direction, and I was like, well, how am I going to get down, and don't know where I'm going to stay and all that. And then I was working back home at the time, we're here now.
But like in between this time, so this is what I want to talk about, because everybody's programming, everyone's thresholds and everything is so different, obviously. But for the main, I think like our main focus through winter has been sort of not bringing up previous problems that we've had. You know what I mean? Like we're working around injuries, and obviously between that time of speaking and not working together and stuff, you went away, did your own thing, and then you encountered quite a big problem, didn't you, with fatigue?
I took like a chronic fatigue syndrome, you know, and like which nobody really knows about in the paddock. Everybody's probably thinking, well, like why is D-Bomb up there one weekend and then nowhere the next weekend? I was dealing with like a chronic fatigue. I was absolutely done, you know, turn up to the weekends just exhausted, sleeping all day, sleeping right up before I went out to ride the bike, and just riding the bike not sharp, just like in this daze. It was, to be honest, think back, it's probably pretty dangerous, but like I felt like I was like tipsy, like in a daze. That's
how most people
all the
describe it.
time. You know, just like if you were talking to me now, I couldn't listen, I couldn't concentrate on you. You know, somebody would have to be clicking their fingers to get me to wake up. And like that's when I realized, after all that, I went through 2 years that I was like, I need Sam on board here, because he was the only one that kind of understood it, you know. I don't know if you've had people experience it before, but Sam understood it, and like our training, I thought this year was really smart. I thought we didn't go and bust ourselves. We made sure we were being smart, we were recovering right,
and we talk multiple times a day to give feedback on.
Yeah, we talk so many times a day.
Especially when you're in America and stuff, and we're riding moto, cycling, doing a little bit of strength here and there, trying to work on the knee. But like my main concern is knowing how he's feeling, because that's our biggest sort of predictor, it's our biggest precursor, how he feels, depending on how fatigued he's getting and stuff, because it doesn't just go away. Like, there's always going to, once you've had something like Epstein-Barr or adrenal fatigue or anything like that, there's always remnants of it in your system, and he's always going to be more susceptible. His training thresholds now are going to be different to what they were before then. So we have to be clever with balancing act, basically, of being able to get enough stimulus in for him to feel an adaptation, but then not reintroduce that fatigue element.
No, and it was hard, because obviously Meisner had the huge injury with the leg. Then you're coming back, like that just immediately drains you once, because your body's down. It's trying to recover all the time, and that was like I said, I need Sam. I'm not going to come back racing unless I've got someone who's going to be like right on me, on my fitness, making sure I'm going to recover. I didn't want somebody who was just going to go like, yeah, you need to go and bust yourself again this week, because that doesn't work for me. Because I'd just turn up useless at the weekends, but no, it's good. Like I thought we had a really good training
good balance. Yeah,
went to America, was good laugh. Went and done some supercrosses. Well, watched some supercrosses, didn't do some supercrosses.
Next year.
He thinks he's good enough. He's not.
Yeah, hang on a minute.
No, we don't want to. We don't want to start bringing. We've seen what happened at the go-karting. We don't want to say.
Right. We don't want to get into motocross bikes. We best not, because we're talking about riding next week, which is just before the Northwest. A couple of days before the Northwest.
You two are not riding before the Northwest together. No,
he's going to come
over. I have to ride his bike, which is straight away a disadvantage, may I add. I'm not riding my own bike.
Get me there early.
But
I'm on the new one.
Taking me to his home track where he practices every day on sand. I don't even like sand.
One at all costs.
And,
one at all costs.
It would still be.
My house,
it would get very carried away. So
that's not happening.
Got to be sensible.
While we're just on that, so we'll come back to that in a second, because it's important what you were saying about the fatigue and everything else. Tell me the story about the go-karting, because there's obviously something underlying here.
I don't want to.
The biggest elephant in the room is it's gone without me.
Roachy's here to
still
not
go back,
because he wouldn't end up training any of us, because he'd get upset, because he's just as competitive as well. So
yeah, it'll be alright with us. Right?
I just want to talk about the boxing bag. Who got the hardest punch?
Oh no! Have you seen the videos?
Yeah.
No, I've not seen that.
I'm 19 years old. All right.
And
how old are you?
8 stone wet through.
14.
Not about mentally.
Anyways, these guys are mid-20s, and I can punch harder.
Well, let me.
No.
Hold on.
This is it, boys. This is what we wanted.
Davey will back me up on this.
Now you know why we're sat this side.
Me and Davey were kind of like, we don't really want to go over and punch that bag, because I used to say I can't fight or punch. So anyway, big dog over here has been. How many times did he hit that thing, David?
he hit it about 5 times. Before we'd even got there, he'd had about 3 goes.
You didn't see the other guy.
To be fair as well, I just swung a punch and hit it. Roachy took about a mile run to hit the thing. He come from miles back.
He did do a massive run up.
He did just throw him at it.
It was like a Superman punch.
I got like a 786. D-Bomb got like a 630. And
Let's not talk about that.
And then I just want to say, we have it on video too. Davey, when he punched, I'm pretty sure he looked like, I don't know, he looked like kind of like a girl maybe that was been throw a punch.
Jen's done a 754.
And she'll hit one on your chin if you carry on. Come on, Jen, tell him.
786,
Jen's done
still
a
higher.
754.
So you can't say punch.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that any further, all right? Please no one mug me in the paddock, because I'm not in a position to defend myself.
Well,
it'd be alright if you've got one bomb over it.
The deal was
Roachy right hand.
As long as you got Roach to let him have a run.
Whoa, wait there.
Stand there, mate. I'll be back in a minute. Smack.
Well, the deal was whoever came first.
What's Davey made?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This was on the drive there. This was Davey's deal.
Yeah.
He said
because they were all talking about money and meals and this, that, the other, and they were like, what'll sting everybody the most? And it was like, how about whoever loses, whoever doesn't win, the other two, have to post on their social media that so-and-so is the king, say D1, which
going back to FIFA
did
apologies,
happen.
isn't it? Remember the 5-0 FIFA
And you had to write, post on your social media that D is the king of go-karting, wipe the floor with us all.
But it was Davey who came up with this. Like, you know, he started saying on
Which
the way
is
home.
all right if you
beat.
can back it up.
Yeah.
He was overconfident.
I came from I've been go-karting twice. I had the showy one, all the showy riders in the BSB paddock, and it was the quickest until they drilled me in the last one and give me a rubbish go-kart because me and Glenn were trying to let tire pressures out. And then but it was
truth
close,
can be told.
we were quicker than everyone else. And then where else did we go? Somewhere else.
Didn't have the king there.
BSB one.
You did the grid line one at Lincoln.
BSB one as well. So I did that on the Bennett's Day. And that was good as well. So I'd had a bit of practice. I was feeling confident. I'm always go-karting up at McGuinness's house as well. We pull the go-karts out there, and that's like a road race track. You crash there, you severely damaged, maimed, if not dead. So it's like the TT of go-karting. It's real sketchy, it's mint. And yeah, just was overconfident, to be honest. And I don't know, basically D
He was crying on the way home.
D made the money, and he walked in there, give the tip the person to give him the go-kart with the newest tyres and the fastest engine, and I'm still standing by that. The same old, I got a slow kart.
Is that what it is?
I got a slow kart.
Classic.
It happened.
Classic.
Do you want to hear from the king or not? You know, I'll give what happened.
The king's speech.
Sam will tell you what happened as well, because he was there. This man was giving it large, overconfident.
Sam can't say anything.
No, he can't say anything.
He's Mr. Overconfident. He still thinks
I'm
he
saying
might
nothing.
all of us.
I'm not saying anything.
So on the way to the
Too late.
go-karting,
You said too much.
on the way to the go-karting, Davey came up with the bet that you had to post it on it. So I was like, all right, okay. I was a wee bit nervous. I was thinking, you know, he's been giving it large here. I'm actually worried that I'm going to have to post this on social media. But we turned up, first session, mate, got him behind him. I just thought, I've got him covered. So got him covered, made a move down the inside, and that was it. That's all she wrote.
That was the first one. We went, to be fair, I thought I learnt a lot in the first one. I thought it was about the fastest lap time. We had 2 sessions at it. Went out in the second one. We ended up getting our own space, so we weren't with each other on track, so no one could really judge, even though you could still see me. I didn't notice. And I did some laps and was like, I pulled it out here. I was much quicker than the first one. I did go a lot quicker than the first one. I was like, I got this. Come in. Went and like shot straight upstairs to look at the lap times. I'm like, I can't say what I said. I was like, I can't believe that.
There you go. And on the way home, then
D-bomb has beat me.
Wounded.
You know,
yeah, savage.
That was good.
Absolutely savage.
And did you get a black flag?
I was about to just say that Roachy got me black flagged. Usual, you know, like well,
he's a nightmare. He just wasn't quick enough, so he just took to absolutely wiping people out.
And we'll just touch on that because Davey, it was quite funny when we went out. Me and Roachy obviously didn't listen to the debrief. You were meant to do one slow lap.
Riders not listening
on a
to
yellow flag.
Yeah.
Right?
Reading instructions.
We were so hyped up, like, because Davey was away first. Me and Roachy were so hyped up to come and catch Davey, like, because we were thinking he's the boy. We need to follow him. Like, we were like, we need to get a toe off him.
D-Bum's tapping on his tail, like, he's like, you do out.
Come with me.
Yeah, he's
Come with me.
Let's go.
we ended up, me and Roachy went out anyway, and you had to do a slow lap with the yellow flags.
Like walking speed, they told us.
Speed. Me and him come out, absolutely wrecked the char. First corner, second corner, third corner, up, side by side. And then they stopped
like
the whole session.
Out.
The whole session got stopped. It was red flag.
Red flagged the whole session. And
they
gave them a massive rollicking for just being flat out.
I know. Some poor girl who was just out trying to like have a nice time. I dozed under, and then Roachy like had her knocked her off the track.
Knocked a helmet off.
What was the nightmare? We turned up, obviously, 3 of us wanting to race for like the king of the go-karting series, and there was just some like random people, like random family out there for like a nice like time, nice weekend, like go-karting, like cruising around at like snail pace. Just enjoying the experience, yeah. And
you boys ruined it.
About 30 seconds a lap slower or something, and like we're coming by like all battling each other, like ramming them out of the way. And anyway, some poor woman like crashed into the barrier, helmet flew off. It was like whole situation. It was she's all right, but like
No, I know. But
it was important to get
flowers
in the
to the
lap
family.
time also.
I mean, it was brutal. But but Roach, he actually left. I still hurt. Honestly,
You were complaining
I
about
still
that.
hurt my ribs. I had to tell Sam, like, I don't know what he's done to my ribs.
telling teacher.
Sam, we were
It was bad.
It was the fast chicane.
fast chicane, fastest part of the track,
Flat out.
absolutely flat out.
There's always that one guy.
There's a slower guy in front of me, so like it narrowed in, didn't it?
It's one line.
It one line, and I had to stand on the brakes. And Roachy took this opportunity.
I just committed to it. I saw like the lapper, and I was like, oh, D-bomb's gonna get held up. So I was like, I might as well just go flat out and see what happens. So I just went flat out, and there was literally like I caught him too quick, so I just absolutely ran. Literally, I saw him. His hands came off the wheel. I think I saw the front of his visor too.
This is all because they caught Davey in the chicane.
Roachy was the slowest, so don't give me that.
Only by like
You
0.5.
by like a second it was.
No,
There was not much between me and D. There was a lot between.
There was one
Was
guy
it?
between me and David.
There
There was a guy.
It was like 0.1.
There was a guy in a Ferrari outfit, full Alpine
It was,
Star.
yeah. to be fair.
Alpine Star.
He was the
There's
boy.
always that one guy.
He was giving me-
Sparko neck brace.
Full kit.
Yeah.
When I caught up to him, I went to pass him. I kind of had
No,
to give him a nudge.
I think it was actually Carlos Sainz. It was actually Carlos
I
Sainz.
think it was.
D beat him just
Replica.
Like, but, and then I was just behind him, but full Ferrari. I was thinking it was actually Carlos.
It's understandable.
It must be
In the
yeah.
middle of
I would say
where were you?
Turns out it was Charles Leclerc.
Milton Keynes.
In the middle of Milton Keynes. I can
Milton
understand that.
Keynes.
Yeah. We're just going to interrupt slightly. Roachy, you got to go, mate. You got
got to
things
go.
to do.
Yeah, I've got team obligations.
I understand that
Yeah,
completely.
yeah. Thank you for your time.
I'll
though.
let you.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Sounds good.
We might
Alright.
even have you back on again. You know that, don't we?
Yeah, for sure.
Because we could do with something later in the season, have a bit more time with you. I know it's Sunday morning at Alton Park, and
Yeah.
you have
Yeah,
things
yeah.
to do and people to
Hopefully,
see. So
hopefully I'll be here at the by the end of the season. So
I would sincerely hope so, mate.
Yeah,
It's been a
exactly.
pleasure to have you on. Always good to see you, mate.
Sounds good.
Go and
Alright.
do what you got to do.
Good luck, boys.
We'll catch up later.
See you in a bit, mate.
We'll not say nothing too bad about
Thanks
it.
a lot, Roachy.
It's all coming out now.
Yeah, so anyway,
Right,
Roachy
now
was
he's
the
gone.
slip-
Right.
No, he's gone. I want to tell you about those socks he's wearing.
Oh, don't want to talk about that.
What's the sock
We
story?
had to make him wash his feet and change his socks before dinner last night.
Oh, that bad.
This is the parenting duties
Yeah.
that we have to do, genuinely.
Between him and Cam, Cameron's the exact same.
Really?
We just
Cam's cleaner though.
Cam's a lot cleaner.
It's just
It's
kids
cleaner.
today, isn't it?
But different in different ways. You've got to look after him.
Fully.
Have you ate today? No. I was going to go get McDonald's. You can't eat McDonald's, mate. It's race weekend. Come on.
You had fries on Friday from McDonald's. That all comes out at dinner last night.
Yeah.
How do you cope with that side of things when you're looking after the boys and then they come out with something like that they?
Me and David, to be honest, are probably just as bad.
Do you
as
know
the
what?
boys.
It's
Oh no, it is coming out.
Let's be honest.
it's one of those things though, and if that's a serious concern, like on a serious note, if that's a serious concern for a rider, which it isn't for anyone really, that I've got a couple of guys at the moment that need to shift a couple of pounds, but predominantly we've done that work
Is he
in
looking
winter.
at you, though?
I think he looked at me there, didn't he?
Definitely not. Definitely not. It's rare that we're at that point in season. Like, I feel like at one point, a few years ago now, you were carrying too much muscle, weren't you? And we were wanting to get weight down.
Yeah.
We don't have that issue anymore. Even if you could be a good 80 kilos on a superbike, it wouldn't be a problem, because at the end of the day, until you're having every horsepower out of that bike at 1-to-1 throttle, that it can be fixed. Do you know what I mean? And you've got guys out there like these heavier guys. Look at like Pete and Danny and people that who've won superbike races at what? 85,
Icky
90.
was fastest yesterday.
Yeah,
he's,
he was, yeah.
He's a lot.
It's not a
90,
limiting factor,
No, it's
especially
heavy.
around somewhere like
yeah.
this, especially when there's that much power. In the lower classes, obviously, if you've got taller riders at a younger age, then sometimes we need to drop a couple of kilos or whatever. Cam's done really well. Cam's dropped 2 or 3 kilos through winter. He's fighting fit now. He's doing well. Like, if he hadn't have done that, and he's telling me he's had fries on a Friday before on park, then it's a problem. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you go and do well, we always say Sunday night at McDonald's if you're on the podium, like that stuff like that is not a
that's
problem,
fair.
you know.
It's striking that balance as well, isn't it?
Mentally, yeah.
Keeps you guys happy because it's like, you know what, I've earned this.
100%.
But it's not going to have it every day.
It's a massive part of the program for us, and a massive part of what works for me. Like we've discovered in the last how many years, where some riders couldn't be any stricter. Like they won't touch a single bad food. They won't have a drop of alcohol. They won't have nothing from start of the season to the end. Like even when you've got 2-3 weeks off, like still nothing. It's like you still got to. You can't take all the fun out of everything, you know, genuinely. Like, not that going out drinking is fun, but like you still got to be happy and enjoying yourself and in the right headspace. And that's something that's really important for me in particular. I think is for a lot of riders as well, is that you got to be a happy rider, and a happy rider is a fast rider, and that's genuinely a massive thing. And obviously there's a balance there, but still enjoying yourself. Like we're not triathletes, we're not ultra marathon runners. Like we're racing a bike for 25 minutes, 30 minutes, longer at the TT and stuff like that, and it is physically hard, like harder than people think, but there's harder sports in there, and like it's not going to change anything if you have a drink the week before you're racing and eat bad food now and again, providing you've got the right balance.
Athletes, it wouldn't for them either.
It's still,
Do you know what I mean? Like it's all about moderation, isn't it? And if you're doing an Ironman and you've had a stressful week and you want to have a whiskey at the end of the week, or if you want to have a beer, you've probably like the amount of calories that these guys burn in training. Yeah. I think it's too much. I think removing anything in absolution, I just think is an unhealthy behaviour, you know? Like, fair enough, if people are teetotal for religious reasons and things like that, yeah, it's different. And
sometimes it's mitigating circumstances.
Each to their own, yeah. But I think if you're a regular functioning human that doesn't have any behavioural or habitual constraints for any other reasons, then I just think moderation. Well, that's what we're all like.
That's what I love about our group. Because we all just have good fun, don't we? We all do the work, we all train, we all have good fun. We turn up at the weekend. I love turning up the weekend now. Yeah. I don't know about you, but I love turning up the weekend. It's good fun.
Well, it's just the thing, it's just the thing of work hard, play hard, and like we put in the work, and then when it's time for us to enjoy ourselves, we'll all have a laugh, like go out for food, like not be, you can only eat a salad out for tonight. Like everybody eats what they want to eat. At the end of the day, as long as you're fueling yourself right, and you've done the training, you're ready. Like you need to fuel yourself properly, and it was more of a thing for me. What we've learned the last couple of years, that was not eating enough. Yeah, and it was a big problem.
But you still do that, don't you?
I still
in the week,
do,
you fall back into that.
It's difficult for me to eat enough, like for the training that I do. So he's just like, just eat. Like, you need to eat more. You need to eat more. Like that's why you're tired. That's why you're not recovering as well as you might.
We'll be smashing a bag of Wendy worms in between sessions.
Yeah,
we're going to have a flavoured Red Bull, bag of Wendy worms.
Perfect.
Get some simple sugars in, get some calories going, get some energy. It's not like he's not got an ounce of fat on him at the moment. Do you mean, why wouldn't you?
Well, exactly. And how much pride does it give you as the guy who's put all this together to see and to hear what Davey and D-Bomb are saying?
It does.
Instilled into them.
It definitely does, but they're as much of an integral part of building that as I am. Like, all I am is the one that sends the programs out and sends the messages and keeps tabs on people. And like, obviously there's a lot gone in to get to this point, and there's a lot of trial and error, and the list is pretty long now of people that I've worked with here. And obviously your two ex-BSB champions, I worked with both of them in their earlier careers. I worked with Brad for quite a while, and everyone's been a part of it so far. Has been a part of building it, you know, because without those guys in the early years, then these guys wouldn't have been interested in coming on board and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? But we've built a core now, and they're as much of a credit to that as I am, you know, and that's what we sort of what I sell us at as is a team and a family really now, you know.
But it's got to work between us all. Is like what you're saying. It's much of a part of us. Like it's so important for all of your athletes that I think that we all work together. It's like a really good thing that we're all actually mates. We all have a whole different side to the training. It's not like we're all individually trained by you. We all have a whole thing we all end up in my camper, to be honest.
Yeah.
Always.
5 of us, 5, 6 of us or whatever, riders, all in my camper, all have the crack after racing. Also, like, try and give each other advice in certain areas and be like, oh, what you doing on this part of the track? And we're all in different classes. So, like, it's...
That's what makes me proud.
Yeah.
You know, when it's not to do with training, I see them working together to do with riding and racing and bike setup and little bits and bobs. And, like, yesterday we're in the camper and someone made a joke about Roach's knee sliders. And he was pretty much like, yeah, I don't want to go and buy a new set. And he's just like, mate, what are you doing? What ways rounds the Velcro? Do you know what I mean? And he's sorting that and just little bits and bobs, things like that. Like, that's what makes me proud. Like, that's when I do feel like a dad. Because when you see everyone just rooting for each other and stuff. And again, that's not down to me in the slightest, but it's like when I see them all batting for the same team and people spotting things on corners and they're going and looking at gearing patterns and just little things like that. And I thought it's quite funny the other day in the group chat, Vickers was on about going and spotting, and at one point he was going to end up going and spotting for Davey.
I don't know where he is. Where's he been?
Wait, look at this.
Yeah.
Look at
Oh, yes.
The me and man.
Here we go.
Here he is.
Get yourself in the middle here.
That's it.
I'll pick that side. Be like that.
their phone in this country.
Oh, no.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, we want you to interrupt.
Oh,
You're
okay.
it.
Come here.
It's the off-track co-host.
I'm back.
Ben Curry. Hello,
It's been
mate.
a while. It's been a little bit of a spell, hasn't it? Really. You've
Welcome
been in
back, mate. How are
America. I just haven't been on the podcast scene lately, but I'm back in action now, so
It's good to see you.
all good. Yeah, this is a hell of a set, isn't it?
Oh, it's unreal.
You like
It's
it?
unreal.
Awesome. Yeah.
Unreal.
It's really.
Ugly and Co boys have done a good job
Is
for
this
us on
actually
this.
a podcast set, or is it what? Wow, this is factory. Really cool. Got the lads on it.
Almost as factory as your V2.
Oh, it's not-
Yeah.
nothing is factory.
Whole paddock's drooling.
Everyone's-
Everybody's like,
it's-
look at, have you seen this? Yeah.
It's so funny though, because like pre-season, everyone's like, "Oh, that bike is just unreal." Go to Silverstone. No one says a word about it. I'm in 6th place. I come here, I top the first session. Your bike's a joke.
That's too good, yeah.
Yeah, come and ride it at Silverstone then.
Hey man, it looks sick. That's all I
It
need
still
to.
looks
I
sick,
don't know how good it goes. It looks sick.
Ah, it's
It's just a
incredible.
work of art.
It's one of them bikes. You don't get them
I
very
mean, it's
often.
obviously no Honda because Hondas are the best, but
Well, yeah.
it looks really
Yeah.
nice. Like I would have a
600,
picture. I would have a picture of it on my wall. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Look,
it
you're
looks
going the right way to not sign for Honda next year.
The 600 way better.
it's much faster.
It's got wings, man. You know what I mean? My bike doesn't have wings. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's got wings. It flies.
It's one of them bikes where you sit in the back of the garage and you stare at the bike and you just think, I cannot wait to ride it. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
just can't wait. It just looks so good. But don't know if you've ever had that before.
Yeah, of course, mate. We've got
You
it
tell
right now.
Miss-
Pageants and the
You tell
Honda.
Kirsty that then. You don't tell Kirsty
You
that.
never
do
sit back and think, I can't wait to ride that.
Not anymore, but all the time.
Having never been in that position for a motorcycle, I don't know.
Oh, we're talking about motorbikes.
We moved on. Have we moved on already?
Oh, well, yeah.
Mate, thank you for joining us. It's good to see you.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's good to be doing something. This big break this morning, innit? Is with nothingness. It's like, it's just had some physio. You just try and like stay busy, don't you? Like, you sit around all day pondering on what you're about to get after, you know what I mean? You can do your own editing, can't you? So, yeah, we're doing it.
Just been talking about training family and stuff. Just been talking about training family and stuff. It's quite a good time for you to come back, really.
It's a
Come back to the, what?
No, as in the
family.
conversation, we're just talking about the whole team sort of environment. Obviously, you've experienced it. You were a huge part of it a few years ago.
Well, I basically fucking built it.
Here we go. He's sat here going like, it's all about the boys. Nothing to do with me. Beach turns up. Do you know what? Actually, if we're
I'm
gonna
only joking.
Do you know we talked about the having fun side? Ben's got an alter ego.
Yeah, oh, well,
That's my favourite part of it.
I'm good at having fun, put it that way. But
Where's Mitchell?
no, the training family was...
I've never had a funnier first session with someone as with this guy.
Oh, tell them about
It's the
that.
best first session I've ever had with someone. I can't even remember how it came about. You messaged me, was it start of 2018? Start of 2018.
I can't remember how it actually come about. Were you on like FaceTime to someone and someone was it Brad, Ray?
Me and Brad had just started working together in the end of 17.
Right.
End of 17, so the end of his first year with Hawk on the stock Superbike. And you messaged me early 2018 and you came down. You didn't come down with Brad, so I didn't really know you guys were tight then. But you came down and he'd not told me anything. He'd not told me that he'd basically never trained before and that he'd just come over here, was riding a bike, pure talent.
Yeah.
And
flapping up.
And he'd not even told me what he'd been doing that week either. The week leading up to when you came to train.
Yeah, we did like a screening, like a fitness test to like sort of see where we are, you know, get ready to build a plan for the winter and that. I'd come from the casino. I drove from Liverpool casino at like 5 a.m. down to...
I thought he looked a little bit ropey. It's like a little bit ropey.
No,
but
I wasn't drinking.
Idea.
I was just playing some poker. I qualified for like a poker tournament from my local pub, and I was like, went there on a free a free poker trip because I'd won this tournament. But I was up till like 6 a.m. in the morning. I thought, shit, I got to go to Loughborough. Went to Loughborough for a screening, basically,
yeah.
And that's where my training career sort of started, isn't it?
It stopped pretty quickly as well. It started for about 4 minutes and it stopped for a little while. And that's kind of the theme for the first 3 months, because you used to go home to Kirsty and be like, I can't even do an impression of you without I can't do it without the F-bomb. Basically, I'm not going back. Every week, I'm not going back. And every week, Kirsty would make him get up for it and be like, he'd be fine doing his sessions at home, but he'd be like, oh, I've got to go back again. And I think we might have been 3 exercises into like an 11 exercise screen. He got on the watt bike for like a 1K effort.
Wow.
And he
finished, wasn't I? That was it.
You said to me at one point, FC, I can't see.
Can't see.
It literally,
I couldn't see.
I can't see anymore. And he just rolled off the bike and laid down on his face. And I was like, I couldn't work out whether you're being serious or not. And I was like,
I remember like opening my eyes after like 20 minutes and you're looking at me going, how the fuck have you won Supersport races?
that's literally what I said. That is literally what I said.
I was like, it needs to be wet for me to win. So I can ride at 80%.
Are we allowed to swear?
Yeah, it's podcast.
Oh, fuck me. Honestly, it was basically, it was zoom, 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 with like 500 me, fuck cunt. And I was like, what's going on? And he was looking at me, he's like, fuck cunt, I can't see. And I was like, are you fucking serious? And literally, I remember you coming around, I was just like, how the fuck have you won the British Championship Supersport races? And what is going on?
But we turned around, didn't we?
Oh, and we did, yeah. We had a
big pre-season.
Massive winter.
With Brad. Me and Brad were
huge.
We did like...
We called it the Golden Triangle.
We did... We turned up at round 1 in 2018.
Took the place apart.
And we literally won every class. I think it was.
Lee Bob didn't win in stock, but he was on the way to, and I think he fell off. But Brad did the double, Beach did the double, Vickers won in stock 6, and Lee Bob was on his way to winning in stock, because I thought, fuck me, they're going to be drugs testing us. Literally thought they're going to be trying to work out what we're putting in everything.
Yeah, we just put a shift in, didn't we?
Yeah.
But you know what? I like looking back at that time, and you look at those pre-seasons and stuff, and you see not that we like changed the game as such, but there's been a lot more emphasis on
100%.
pre-seasons and turning up prepared, ready to rock and roll. Dave, you done one?
He's gone to little boys' room. We'll be back shortly.
I'm buzzing, to be fair.
You know, getting prepared for a pre-season there was not.
I think we made the younger generation a lot more aware of it. I think the older heads, like your Leons and people like that, were still tearing themselves to pieces.
Well, they're doing it.
They were already doing it, but I feel like the younger generation, I feel like we turned a lot of heads. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to name names, but there was a lot of people dropping in my DMs early 2018 when they're basically wanting in, and it was kind of like.
There's no, but the thing is, there's no secret formula.
No,
it's called getting fucking after it.
It's hard work, man.
We're getting after it, but with science, with a bit of measure, and we had a great team environment.
Let's talk about science. Let's talk about science in training.
Oh.
Like I feel like the last sort of the last 2 years, science has almost polluted the training game.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's like, numbers.
Science and all kinds of crap that I think.
Look at this now, we've got to hold this wattage for this amount of... Honestly, I've never not enjoyed training so much. And I think in terms of like seeing benefits from training...
You can always come back,
we're still
having a great time.
There's the first one.
We can see we see the benefits from training and like what we get out of it. And I think I stopped seeing benefits, and I was like, well, I'm not the fittest guy in the world, so why am I not seeing the benefit anymore? It's like sitting on a bike for 2.5 hours at a heart rate of 110 beats per minute is not helping me at the end of a freaking half an hour race. I get the science, and I know how freaking much it works, obviously.
But that's this, and this bit is what I think we've always done well.
Yes.
And that bit is what we nailed.
Going in the locker and, like, you know, being sick.
Being
and
specific, like, making it transferable, doing the mental side of that. Like, we used to do race runs. We used to do a thing called Race Run on Friday. We get all the boys down on Friday. Rispoli, Vickers, Brad, like, everyone, Cam even. Yeah. Everyone used to come in, and we used to just take lumps out of each other on Friday. And I'd just set things up. It'd be like lap time intervals. And it'd be like X and we just used to get after. Everyone was like having a great time at the same time, though. Like,
Just when you're saying about that, that's kind of what happened to me when I went into that chronic fatigue state.
Well, you went down like a triathlon.
I went down like a triathlon. Honestly, I thought I was going to be a professional cyclist. Absolutely rubbish on a motocross bike or a motorcycle. The man on the bicycle, well, probably wasn't, but I thought it was. But you know,
what have I walked into here?
You kind of got
this ain't the truth.
Kind of got like I got like fixated on numbers. How to do these numbers? You know, I have to be above this amount of wattage every cycle I do, and then you get on the Strava. And you see, like, somebody's done a fast segment,
and then you see red.
I will say though, on the flip side to that, just a small side note. One of the biggest things that I have to do with motocrossers at the start compared to short circuit guys is get them in the mindset of thinking about numbers. Because, no disrespect to motocrossers, most of the time you have to take your brain out to go be fast at that sport, right? And although you have to go and set a bike up, setting up a short circuit bike is very different. And these guys, as much as we like to, obviously we make jokes about them leaving school at 3 years old and stuff like that. Most of these guys, especially the majority of guys I've worked with, are thinking man's riders. And a lot of them are very analytical. They're very clever. You're very, very analytical dickhead. No, like, that's one thing that we've almost had to try and get you.
I do a bit of the obsessive thing.
You're too much sometimes.
Yeah,
like, we
had
to try and almost bring you back and try and get you out of the wormhole.
That's what I'm saying about we're talking about science.
But at the same time,
how kind of it's ruined the training game. All this science shit that we're all looking at these numbers and that, like, we're motorbike riders.
I do find a positive in the way that, though, I don't have to try and dial you guys into that stuff to a negative, because you do think about suspension and setup and electronics and stuff like that, and you think about lap times and sectors and stuff, and that's then good to be able to transfer that into some training senses without getting obsessive about it. Like, it's easy with you guys, whereas sometimes I have to take it back to a whiteboard when I'm working with other people and motocross and things like that, and you literally have to bring that side in and make them, you know, like all the little games we play on the ski yoga stuff, and we started doing zeros and all kinds of crazy things like that, which, to be fair, we pinched that from somewhere else, but little bits and bobs like that, like to bring some people into the numbers game and looking at metrics and tangibles and stuff like that. But yeah, I do agree. I think we've got to a point where a lot of people are obsessing.
It's getting stupid, isn't it? Yeah.
It gets stupid, and it does. Like, you know, I think you have to be reasonably fit to ride a motorcycle. I think a lot of it's here. If you believe in yourself, mate, it's mad.
Yeah, but I
which
think
is a lot of what training brings,
it's
right?
a byproduct of the training in the mental side. Like, if you, like, I train with a different bunch of guys now. Obviously, it's been made clear. But what I find with training with those dudes is, like, they're not doing anything different to, like, what we're doing. What it is it's an environment, and it's like what do you call it?
It's a pressure cooker.
It's just like you get chunks taken out of you. Do you know what I mean? If you're mentally weak, you get found out straight away. If you're unfit, you get found out straight away. All your weaknesses are, you know, it's basically a racing environment all the time. Every morning you rock up, you know, it's trying to get one over each other all the time. It's who gets there the earliest, who does the hour of cardio before we start. You know, it's like, you come in and Losey's done a 12K run, and you look at his treadmill and he's done, like, you know, an hour of cardio before Kirk even arrives to train, and he just wants to look at you, you know what I mean, like,
that doesn't work for everyone.
Do you know what I mean?
So that isn't for everyone. Like.
And granted, not everything is for everyone. Do you know what I mean? And that's the reality of it. It's what works best for you, and I find I get the most out of that bit for my mind and stuff like that, where they're sitting on the push bike for 2.5 hours at in zone whatever made me mad, and like I felt like I was getting unfit. I might have been getting fitter, but it didn't work for me. So
Yeah.
I don't think it does that for you. I think the biggest thing you gained in 18 was the fact that you knew now your body could do it mentally, especially the war that you had with Jack that year. Like, what would you have done if you hadn't have done that winter?
Well, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, no way.
Simple as that. But I think that, like, looking back at that is like I went from zero fitness to actually being pretty fit dude. So that massive gain there was humongous. So
I think you were expecting that again and again.
and then you get addicted to that, don't you?
Yeah.
So you start
Exactly.
searching for it, and you start like making things up in your head, and this is where you turn into it gets obsessive, don't it?
Yeah.
Well, all right, well if I eat that many grams of rice and that many grams of chicken, that worked. I'd done a double that weekend. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, then that's the dangerous thing then about doing stuff like that as well.
it gets stupid, doesn't it? And you just got to know when to stop. And I think with experience, you finally start to work it out. And but the fuck trophies haven't come back.
Well,
might have to go back to that style.
I've got a question for you. I wanted to see if you remembered this. My first race on a stock 600 at Thundersport, I was sitting in pole position.
I remember.
And this guy from 20th whole shot at the race. Right? I just let the clutch out. And this guy passes me. And I'm thinking, no way in hell did that guy get that good a start. I don't even know where he
laps
started.
out, wasn't it?
So, I got you in the dreams.
you-
I got the dreams. I know you need to pass
You were the
this
boy, weren't you? Thundersport, weren't you? Was it?
I don't know if I was the
I can't
boy,
remember, but you were like the new kid on the block, or
I won the Aprilia 450 thing, and then I moved up onto the stock 6. That was my first race in the stock 6. So everyone's like, everyone was kind of expecting you to win, kind of thing. And I did that, but I couldn't believe.
But I remember turning up. It was like one of my first years over here, wasn't it?
You motor breakers.
Motor breakers.
Yeah.
Second year. Started the
That's pretty
second
short.
year, pre-season. Go and did a Thundersport down at was it the Indy circuit?
Brands Hatch Indy.
Indy circuit.
'Cause I launched myself. I don't know if you knew. I launched myself in the second race. There was like some kind of like King of Brands or something. You got like prize money if you won like the races at it.
Big
But I'll
Milwaukee
never
trophy.
forget that. There's
I
the
forget
first
that was
time-
you, huh? That was you. That you were the guy in that race, weren't you? I forget.
I won it. Yeah.
I completely forgot.
So I did, yeah. King of Brands, King of the go-kart things.
When's his coronation?
Mate,
Monday.
The
Don't know what's
motocross.
happened since.
Yeah, the motocross.
Mate, what year was that with this?
Oh yeah, I forgot this is your podcast, isn't it?
No, mate, I can listen to you. What year was the
I think
stock
it was.
6?
I think it was 14 or 15. Was it?
Did you three ever?
14.
14.
Have you three ever been on track together? Stock here.
Stock 6, surely.
We've raced together.
Morello, yeah.
I didn't do stock 600 at BSB. I only done. I done a.
Surely 2015
stock,
or 16 you'd have been.
I feel like we've all raced each other for sure, once or twice.
No, I don't.
Or did you?
I think.
You didn't go super sports. You'd have raced each other
Yeah.
in super
So I'm
sport.
coming in stock 6 in 2016.
No. So
You
we
were-
didn't race, did we?
you
I'd
were
moved on.
Supersport.
Super Sport. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
But
And
in 17, was when we first met in 17, because I got a deal with. We both got a deal with Cowie, and we both got motocross bikes, and this is like two guys I'm not it's just a totally different position we're in now. And basically had nothing. I was half living in the back of my van. He had nothing.
Yeah.
Both had absolutely nothing. We both got these shiny new Kawasaki
Friends,
motocross
like,
bikes. We're both sick. We'd go riding motocross together and stuff. In
We had some fun,
17
didn't
A bunch of times, and just felt like we were absolutely living the dream.
That was
because
like
we got a couple of motocross.
that was
bikes
kind of
through.
like we felt like factory, didn't we?
Oh,
All of a
made
sudden
it.
we're
We
like,
made it
they're
now.
giving us bikes
Made it.
now. Like, how good are we?
I don't know why I'm going to give their egos this, but it's quite rare that you have this many short circuit guys that can ride motocross this well sat together.
Yeah, dude,
normally-
you can
it's
ride a
normally
bike.
some
huh?
absolute wobblers around.
I tell you what, I haven't been back on a dirt bike properly since that day in Spain. Davey was there.
Oh no, yeah, he was the first two.
yeah,
Wasn't
that
it? Is that
was-
Rocco's?
yeah, it was-
Rocco's.
Fucking hell, man. It was absolute.
I don't want to say I told you something before jumping it, but
Yeah.
literally said then I watched that.
Watch that jump
That
out
jump.
there. Yeah, it
That's
sends you,
lethal.
doesn't it?
Just send you so high, and it had a proper lip on the landing.
Yeah, because it was like that,
Are
wasn't
you
it?
on flat track
Savage.
bikes or motocross?
No,
Motocross
motocross
bikes.
bikes.
Because it's Rocco's, wasn't it? They got flat track as well.
What did you do? You landed the side of the on
Yeah.
the side of the edge of the track.
So it
or
was
something?
really weird. There was this really. Do you remember that super fast dude that was going around? I think he was a GP rider or
Yeah.
something, getting some little bit of testing in. And when you're just looking out the corner of your eye, I could see him coming. He was catching me like crazy fast. So I thought any minute he's going to come past me. So let him. But we both caught this slow rider at the worst spot, like these 3 rollers before this massive tabletop. And he like railed around the outside of both of us, and I was cutting back and going up the inside of it. So he kind of spooked the slow dude that was in between. So the slow dude moves over, so I move over a little bit, and I thought I'll just jump past him. But when I took off from the up ramp, I realized like my trajectory was off the edge of the track, and I just landed off the like side of the track. It bit in and just spat me over. But it's because it's like in a massive like canyon hole thing that like from the top where I stepped over the bars down to the bottom was like a long way. And I remember I think I landed on my front and the bike whacked me in the back. I think that's what broke my back. I'm not too sure. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I knew straight away that I was in trouble.
See, that's the problem with the motocross. It gets a bit competitive, doesn't it? I don't know if Davey should come over.
But this is if you can ride, like Davey can ride a bike, and doesn't matter where you are on a motocross track, you can get a gauge off where the other guy is. Yeah. And you can just
like saying earlier about go-karting.
That's what I was saying earlier.
Just get a marker, and you're like, right, okay, we're the same. We're the same. Oh, he's taking a bit out of it. Yeah. And then you step it up.
That's
and then
what we'd be like back in 17.
That's what we were like,
ride together, and we were like, right, it's getting too aggressive. Like, we'll stop riding together, but we'd stop riding together and we'd be going down like opposite straight away.
This is why I've stopped doing private hires.
Still like looking across, and you're like, I can see the other guy like push out to the next lap to try and gain a bit, and you obviously pushed as well.
But there's no better feeling.
The same, and you're like,
there's no better feeling when you actually know. Oh, I'm having him. Oh, he's pushing now. I'm taking taking a second or two out of him every lap.
Sounds like watching like Olympic pursuit. When they start on the opposite side to the velodrome, and you can see where they are.
Just on a bigger scale,
gauge where each other is.
I went for a phase of getting private hires for the boys.
I don't do that.
Yeah, no, I've stopped doing it. Yeah. I just thought we didn't actually have any incidents, did we? Even with Brad and Wardy there. We even had Brad and Wardy there, and there was no accident. But
that's the difference between a motocross guy and not a motocross guy.
Hey, can I just to sort of like change the subject a little bit, rambling. This weekend, fellas, like what are we saying for some results? Little mixed weather bag today. What we saying? You feeling it, Davey? How was Silverstone for you?
Silverstone was a struggle. I've talked about it already. Really, it was tough. Like, we sort of realised what we need from the bike, and working with Motec and everything is a whole different thing. So finding a good map is really important. And then finding some other parts of the bike. We've got some different forks, some bit more up-to-date forks. So we also got swing arm in now. But then it's finding the setting for that. It's not the case of bolting it in and you just go faster. Obviously getting a good setting for all that. So most importantly, find the map that suits me and a good feeling. I've been having brake issues as well, so we managed to borrow some bigger discs off another team where kindly lent us, so that's good. So we got those, and hopefully we're making steps in the right direction. Definitely, it was better yesterday than I felt all year with the bike. I'm feeling good, but.
So it's been a bit of a learning curve then, stepping up to the Superbike team and yourself.
For the team, they've been in Superbikes, but we're not in 10 plus years.
Yeah, so lots changed, huh?
A lot's changed with a Motec system they've used before, but the much older version of the Motec system that has changed a lot. It works completely differently. So it's a whole learning curve for everyone, for me and the team. So we're trying to find a good setting for the bike. It's not as simple as it was with a Superstock bike that we saw. The first time I jumped on it, I was like, that's mint, and we barely changed anything all year.
A couple of clicks.
Yeah, literally. So now with the Superbike, things are a totally different ball game. Everybody's fast. We're like 0.6 off at Silverstone, but in 19th. So
brutal.
It's savage.
You've been there.
Brutal.
It's savage, but we've made steps forward, definitely, and we can make more steps forward. Definitely with a wet coming in is going to be a different thing again. It's about the map and having a good wet map. Do we have that? Don't know yet. Not really riding the wet, so.
But you can make the difference, can't you, as a rider? So do you think maybe it's an opportunity for you?
Well, I don't know. I've always gone well in the wet.
Didn't you win one here by like 30 seconds or something?
Yeah. My second ever BSB race in Stock 600. I won here. I was 2 seconds a lap faster than everyone else. So it's like,
I was looking after Jordan Weaving at the time, and Jordan was saying, I'm like, what?
What are you doing?
Who's this guy? Hang on, this is going to be your championship year. This guy turns up that we'd not heard of because you'd done all the supermoto side of it.
I think you won.
I did win that
Supersport
weekend.
The same
Yeah,
Same
by like
weekend.
17 seconds.
We were all
as well.
like ex-motocross, supermoto
Yeah,
guys.
kinda
that all
helps,
basically
doesn't it,
won
I think?
that
I
same
used
day.
to
Sketchy
hate when it rained.
conditions.
I used to hate when it rained and I was racing against BJ. I used to hate it. Like, I just
You know what's
You know
coming.
what? Like, he's just going to take off the front. Like, you know, it's boring. Like, even in the warm-up lap, I remember falling. I was like second or third in the warm-up lap. I said, I'll get behind him, and he smoked everybody in the warm-up lap by about 10 seconds.
That's where I did all the
pushing.
damage with everyone.
Yeah, I was pushing, you know?
Because I
was
knew,
like,
I
what
thought
is
if
he
I
doing?
push on the warm-up lap, I'll get my tyres up to speed. But it got to a point where my warm-up laps, I'd say come over Clay Hill, and I'm like, it's quiet. Look back, they're still in the chicane. I thought their heads are gone. But it's good fun, isn't it? It's not often you get in those situations, is it? Where like you can struggle for years and years to try and get a win, and then you go and win one by 30 seconds, and you're like, well, that was easy, wasn't it? You know what I mean? It just doesn't happen like that, does it? All the time.
Absolutely.
Think about in between that win and what you've gone through to get your title and all these sorts of things in between, like those races of just pure, like,
Yeah.
you know, balls to the wall. And you think you can go, why can't they all be like that one?
Yeah, like that one. I just felt like I was
Yeah.
cruising around. It just was
But
almost easy.
That's
and then-
racing, isn't it? So is
Yeah.
this about getting you prepared then for the TT? And
Yeah, not
the
all
roads?
about. It's more bike time than I've ever had before the TT. So it's perfect, really, for that. But I want to be a short circuit racer still. Like, it's not for the roads
Yeah.
that I'm here. I still want to be a short circuit
So
racer.
what do you look at more importantly in the year? Or is it just like you race bike, every race you attend, I'm doing my best, I
Yeah.
want to win?
Yeah, every single one. There's not one that I go to and I'm like, it doesn't really matter. Like, every race matters. Go-karting matters. Like, okay, maybe that not so much because I didn't win, but like, I'm competitive person. I want to do my best at everything, but yeah, I don't have a preference with the roads and the BSB. I love the TT. It is the best race of the year. The one I enjoy the most. It is just the best. It's the hardest and the best.
Yeah.
But I'm not here for any other reason that I want to be a short circuit guy. I want to be a top Superbike guy. Like, I want to be up there, and I won't like quit till I've stopped working at that. Like, I'm not prepared to go, like, it's not working right now, I'll just go back to the roads as people would sort of think. So I'm
Is
just
there
gonna stick
pressure
there.
to perform at roads? Pressure to perform at short circuit, or have you got that in the bank where you go, well, do you know what? Like, my number one goal is to win TTs. I get to come here and race with the best guys every weekend. It sets me up for the TT. But, you know, like young guys stepping up into Superbike, they feel that pressure to, I need to get to the front, otherwise I don't get hired again. Where you've got another element to your riding, a complete other side where you can offer teams, go, well, you know, I'm one of the fastest dudes around the TT. Does that relieve the pressure and give you extra time to settle into a class like this?
When you like talk about it in that way, it makes sense, but it doesn't even cross my mind, that sort of stuff. Like, you know, as a rider, people talk about the pressure from the team, pressure from sponsors and this, that and the other. Like, you don't feel that, do you? You feel the pressure from yourself,
Yeah,
the
that's
pressure
it, yeah.
that you're putting on yourself to perform. And that's it for me. Going out in Superbike, I don't think, oh, it's fine because I'll be all right at the TT. I'm like, I need to win.
Still
Like,
got the
I
nerves,
need to be at
still
the front
got everything.
now, like, not next week, not, oh, learn this year and be strong next year. I'm like, I want to win now, like tomorrow, today, now, and I'm putting that pressure on myself to be there. Like, there was no reason why not. Definitely it's a learning curve with the bike, but why can't we do it? Like, I came in, I'd never had a full short circuit season after 2016 on a stock 6 until last year, where I've been begging teams, literally begging, like the
because at one point there it went like a little bit like, shit, you might not have a ride.
I just did the roads because, and everybody's like, oh, you're just focusing on the roads. It's like, yeah, because nobody will give me a ride at BSB, or I'll be there as well. And it was never that I lost any interest in BSB or wanted to be here on short circuits. I wanted to be here since 2016, and it was just nobody would give me the chance, and it's really tough in this day and age. Like, there's a lot of riders out there with rich parents that are paying a lot of money for the ride, and I don't have that. So like, I didn't have the opportunity.
You're minted though, aren't you?
He is now.
No,
Didn't get dinner last night, though, did he?
Right, all the teams are like, right, Davey, cash cow, right, sound. We'll give you, Davey, we'll give you a ride, mate.
So literally, it's like I had no money to buy my ride, so I wasn't getting a ride, and I'd, like, as I say, was begging and begging and begging for a ride for the last 5-6 years or whatever, and not until 2022 last year, 21, the end of 21, I got talking with Padgett's, and I'm like, please, can we do a full season? We'll just do a few rounds and see how we go. And I'm like, come on, like, can we just do a full year?
Because even Clive is thinking, let's just do it to get ready for the roads.
Yeah,
at that point.
absolutely.
He is, isn't he? He's just thinking,
they've been a road scene for a long time. Connor's doing it for the roads. Anybody who's there is doing it for the roads. So I'm like, I want to do it. I want to be a short circuit racer. I think we can do it. And he's like, why do you think? And I'm like, I have no basis of saying why I can do that. Like, I did 1 year in 2016 in Stock 6 and won 2 races, but that means nothing. When you jump on a thou and have 5 years off, like, where's the relevance in that? Like,
do you think that there was like a moment as well
there's
where
just a
Clive's...
feeling. There's just a feeling in me that I'm desperate to be a short circuit racer as well. Like, I want it so bad, and I know that I ain't going to quit till I am successful at doing this. So I'm going to put the work in to make sure I do that. And we prepared so hard for last year, even coming into the season, not having a clue. Nobody once coming into last season even like murmured my name as somebody who might win a race or might win a championship. Yeah. Like, no chance was that ever talked about. Even
it's true, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, well, we knew
3, 4, 5 rounds where I'd been at the front, and 5 rounds into the season, people were like, "Oh, are you even going to bother doing any more races? Because you were just doing it for the roads."
Yeah,
like,
doing it for the. Yeah.
I'll show you that I can be a shot. Why you just like? And it really stuck in my throat that I'd just get classed as a road racer, and I'd be like, I want to prove that I can do this as well, and that probably fueled me, and like the back half of the year just won race after race and ended up wrapping up the championship, and that was like big for me. That it felt like my first year back. Like, I thought it's probably going to be a learning year, but I was motivated to do it, and we made it happen. So now going into this year, it's like, right, jumping on the Superbike, I want to perform what I did last year without the experience. And a bunch of the tracks that we went to last year, I've not seen in 5-6 years, like Knockhill, Thruxton, Brands GP. I've literally not seen since 2016. I barely remembered where I was going, you know, like I felt like I was learning a new track again. And this year, I've been at all them tracks last year. I know them all. I feel like fresh. I feel a better rider. I feel more experienced, albeit a little bit, like, just in a so much better position. I feel like we should be making it happen.
Love it.
I tell you what,
Me and you are going to have to move.
I was going to say, talk about
That's
making
a
it
great
happen.
finish.
It's 11:30.
I have 30 minutes to
You have 30
FP3.
minutes to FP3. What a great way to
This
finish.
is-
I get ready in about 20.
But it's, you know what I mean? He's Hollywood, isn't he? He's rock star.
He's got to go. He's got to go.
He just
Mate,
turns up and
thank
does
you
it.
so
So,
much.
nice
Always.
one. Cheers,
No
fellas.
problem. Cheers for having us on.
Cheers, Sam. No, you can stay if you want. You ain't got to go anywhere. You can stay for a bit. if you want.
I'm going to shoot as well.
Are we all going?
I think we can cap it off.
I think we're done. Boys, thank
People
you.
have had enough.
People, I haven't. I could do this all day. You boys have got work to do. Seriously, fellas, and Roachy as well. Thank you so much for dropping by on the podcast. Let's do this again later in the year. Sam, thank you for bringing this all together, mate. I really appreciate that. Ben, thanks for joining us, mate.
No,
So we
thank
can have
you.
you back, mate. And we will catch up with you boys soon.
Make
Have a
sure
good
you
weekend.
subscribe.
Thanks for having us
Ding the
on.
bell.
Thank you, boys.
Have a good weekend, boys. We'll catch up soon.
Thanks, Dave.